So, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to wherever you are coming from. Again, we have an international audience. I'm happy about that. I would like to welcome you to our, let's say, last session for today, temperature measurement, ensuring food safety and quality. As usual, this is a series of the webinars. We would like to be a little bit closer with our customers and giving the news of our instrumentation, of our innovations, because we cannot contact you directly or cannot be with you directly because of this, let's say, strange situation with this COVID-19 situation. But let me introduce how the system works quickly. So you can decrease and increase the webcam and the presentation. And in this case, because we are in a studio this time, in our production center for the temperature sensors. So please increase the camera of Jürgen Müller. You will see this later on, because he will bring all the information on via his camera. And then, of course, you can download the presentation. So we have the presentation already on the uploaded. So you just can download it on the download session. And whenever you have a question, so please don't wait to the end. Write your question right away in the question chat box. We will then answer maybe your question directly in the chat box. But anyhow, at the very end, we are going to discuss all the questions with all the audience so that everybody is on the same stage and on the same level regarding the open questions for all the customers. And then, what is here? Then we have, the session is recorded. This I almost forgot. The session is recorded. So that means you can download the session, let's say maybe at the end of this week. We are finished with the upload of the recording. So then you can download the session for yourself. So if you like to see it again, but you also can share it with your colleagues or with your friends, which have maybe not been able to participate this seminar. So who will be your presenters of today? That's first me. My name is Matthias Schützeberg. I'm the Industry Development Manager here in Rheinach, Switzerland at Endres Hauser Group Services AG. But I'm just the moderator for today. So the speaker will be Jürgen Müller. He is from the Product Center and the R&D for the temperature systems and system products. And of course, we have somebody in the background. So we have a product manager, and we have somebody for the technique in behind. The product manager, Kajetan Schneider, he is global product manager for the thermometers, and Melanie Fauter, she will take care on the technique of the system. That's it for now from my side. So I give over now to Jürgen Müller for the presentation. Thank you.
Thanks, Matthias. And ladies and gentlemen, welcome to this afternoon session, to this seminar from Germany. We will talk today about measuring the temperature in order to ensure food safety and quality. Of course, we have a dedicated instrument portfolio for all the different applications, but I will not manage to talk about each single instrument, but I will for sure mention the most important things that you should know at the end of the seminar. We can't meet physically, as Matthias already explained, due to the pandemic situation at the moment, but we want to keep this seminar as interactive as possible, and therefore I draw your attention to the Mentimeter platform, a web-based platform that we use to ask questions during the seminar, and you can give your input and let us know your opinion. So if you have a mobile phone available, please just scan the QR code and you will access the session right away. And without a mobile phone, you can go to menti.com and enter this voting code in the internet, the 1901881, and you will also be able to access the platform. So don't worry, it's completely anonymous. You don't need to enter personal data or anything else. Okay, before we start, let me introduce myself. My name is Jürgen Müller. I started working with Endres Hauser last year in August. Before I joined Endres Hauser, I used to work for many years of my professional career with a company in Switzerland that manufactured instruments for quality testing in the food and beverage labs. And with these instruments, people measured parameters like the moisture content of food samples or the protein content and fat content. And now I'm here in Endres Hauser, so I moved away from the lab, closer to the process line, and we will talk about measuring the parameter temperature during the manufacturing of a food product. As I said already, I will just mention the highlights because that is important to know. And if you have further questions, I'm sure there will be a Endres Hauser sales representative near to your production site. So just get in contact with them and get all the information you would need additionally. Well, the Temperature and System Products division of Endres Hauser, the headquarters is located in one of the most southern tips of Germany in a village called Nesselwang. Whoever had the chance to come visit this area, you may know there is a famous castle, a very famous touristic spot here in this part of Germany. It's the castle Neuschwanstein, and Nesselwang is just a few kilometers away from Neuschwanstein. We also have manufacturing sites for thermometers outside Nesselwang, of course. There is a manufacturing site in the US, in Italy, China, and India. And as there are other divisions as well within Endres Hauser, these divisions manufacture instruments for the detection of level, for measuring the flow or measuring pressure. And we have one division that manufactures instruments for liquid analysis. And with those instruments, you would measure the pH or dissolved oxygen or conductivity and parameters like that. You now know where I am located and where the headquarters of Endres Hauser is located. So maybe we try the Mentimeter for the first time. Please go to the Mentimeter and just let me and the other participants know where in the world are you located at this moment. Let's see what answers come in here. Oh yes, USA, California, also in the USA, of course, Greenville, Thailand, Nesselwang, I see some participants from Nesselwang from here. Bangkok, well, yeah, Panama, Bolivia, Colombia, very nice. Matthias already mentioned that we're an international audience today here. So, okay, thanks. I see the Mentimeter works and it causes no problems for you. Thank you. So let me take you on a journey through the temperature world at Endres Hauser. And when we start the journey, or for the starting phase of our journey, I would like to mention which sensor technology is available on the market and which special sensors we can offer from Endres Hauser. Later, we will look at the instrument portfolio, and I will point out what the benefits and the added values are when you use these instruments. Then, towards the end of our journey today, I would want to take a brief look into the future, what we will offer in future. And finally, all the questions you have that you enter in the GoToWebinar panel, we can answer at the end. Okay, looking at the sensor technology, I want to mention these three sensors. It's first of all the standard thin film PT100, a wire wound PT100, and a thermocouple. Now, the first two, standard thin film and wire wound, as you see, are PT100 sensors. That means PT stands for platinum. So the sensing element itself is more or less platinum, either as a thin layer or a wire that is wound around a ceramic bar. And 100 says that the resistance of platinum at 0 degrees Celsius is exactly 100 ohm. So in fact, what we do when we measure the temperature, we measure the resistance of the sensor and convert that value into a temperature value. So these two sensors, the PT100 sensors, are long-term, show a very good long-term stability and are commonly used in thermometers. And we also use them, of course. The thermocouple is a different technology. You have two wires consisting of two different metals. And if you expose this sensor to heat, a voltage is induced. So we measure the voltage and we convert that voltage into a temperature value and indicate the temperature value. Now the thermocouple, as you can see here, stands out due to its very high temperatures that you can use it for, while the PT100 would not work at such high temperature values. Now this is the common sensors that you will find in many different thermometers, also in ours, of course. But Endres Hauser wanted to offer something special, and that's why we developed some very special sensors. First of all, there is the strong sense that we can offer when it comes to applications where you have very strong vibrations. So the strong sense is a PT100, but it is the sensor that offers the best vibration resistance that is available. You can use it up to 60 G, while as the normal PT100 sensors, you normally just use up to 3 G. Then we have the quick sense. That is a sensor with a very, very short response time, and I will talk about it later. And there is no other similar sensor that you can find from any other vendor. Last but not least, I will also talk in more detail about the Trust Sense, which is a self-calibrating sensor and the first sensor that really does a real self-calibration that is triggered at a certain temperature value. I will also talk about this in a few minutes. What I also want to show you is how the design of the sensors looks, because this is interesting to see, especially for the quick sense, which I mentioned has the shortest response time on the market. As you can see here, the sensing element itself is touching the tip of the thermometer, so it is very close to the medium that you want to measure. And because it's so close to the medium that you measure, the response time is extremely short. The strong sense that I also mentioned before is the second sensor here. And as you can see here, the sensing element itself is potted in a ceramic potting, and that's why the sensor itself is kind of stabilized, and even vibrations up to 60 G won't harm this sensor. The standard thin film and the wire wound, I also indicated that before, they are standard sensors that we also use, of course. But we have another very special sensor that only we from Endres and Hauser can offer. It is the Trust Sense. This sensor does an automatic calibration at 118 degrees. Now, how is that possible? You see, we have a reference material that is in touch with the PT100 sensor itself. And whenever the 118 degrees are reached, this reference material triggers a calibration, an automatic calibration. And you don't need to worry about pressing a button or whatever. It just starts and the calibration is done. Well, this triggering of the calibration is an effect of the so-called Curie point. There was a French physicist, Pierre Curie, who found out that there are special materials available, like in our case, the material that we use, that change their ferromagnetic properties at a certain temperature. So whenever this temperature is reached, the ferromagnetic properties change. We measure that. We measure the capacity of the material, the reference material that we use. And when we see such a change in the ferromagnetic properties, the sensor, the reference material, is triggering the calibration. By the way, there is a YouTube video available. You find the link to this video in the PDF handout that Matthias mentioned. You can download it, and there you find the link. So just click on it and you will get some more detailed information how the Trust Sense works and what is special about it. Coming back to the Quick Sense, I just want to show you this graphics here, where you clearly see that we managed to reduce the response time to levels where nobody else has been before and we haven't been before. But with the Quick Sense, if you use a thermometer with 3 millimeter diameter, you can reduce the response time to a value below 1 second, and it is 0.75 seconds. If you use a standard thin film sensor, a thermometer with a standard thin film sensor, you have, with a 3 millimeter diameter sensor, you have response times of around 5.5 seconds. If you look at a 6 millimeter sensor, you see in this graphics here, the response time is reduced even more drastically. And if you use the thermometer with a thermal well around the sensor to protect the sensor from the impact of the medium that you measure, you see in this graphics that a 3 millimeter sensor in a thermal well with Quick Sense will have a response time of 2.5 seconds compared to normally 23 seconds. So this is really very, very good performance and very, very short response times that we offer here. Okay, I think this was the warm-up. We can move on to the portfolio to talk about which thermometers we recommend for which applications and find out what the benefits are. But before we do this, please access the Mentimeter again and just let us know what is the reason that you measure temperature in your manufacturing facility. I see the first answers came in already. It's monitoring, control flavor, quality control, okay. Monitor SIP, okay. That's SIP monitoring, okay. Okay, yeah, I see quality is a topic, of course. And you know, it's also the topic of the presentation today. So yeah, okay. Thank you very much. We have on the internet a so-called applicator, and from this applicator I pulled out a few applications, and I will show you which ones I pulled out and why. So if you would like to know which thermometers we recommend for what kind of application, you can access the applicator via this link here and just see what we can offer for the questions that you have during your manufacturing process. I would like to start with a first application, just because this application, the pasteurization of milk in the dairy industry, is very nice to show, first of all, that there is different steps in this whole process here, where you would use T, and T stands, of course, for measuring the temperature. But you also see other letters here in this overview of the pasteurization process, and the other letters stand for the other products that Endres Hauser offers. So L is level detection, P is measuring pressure, and F stands for measuring the flow rate. But coming back to temperature, I said this is a nice application because, as you see in the title of this slide here, temperature affects taste and shelf life. Now, the thing just is that high temperature is not so good or has a negative effect on the taste. And on the other hand, if you have temperatures that are too low, then, as you see indicated here, the shelf life is affected and the shelf life is reduced. And of course, you want to keep all the parameters, be it taste or shelf life or anything else, as stable as possible, and because everything in the end affects the quality of your product. So in the course of my presentation, I will talk about the sensors, the thermometers that we offer, and here we have a classification. We have compact sensors that are more or less ready to use, and I will tell you why. Then we have modular sensors, where you have a big choice of different sensors, of different accessories, and we will see what it is. And then we have our high-end Trust Sense, which in fact is also a compact sensor, but I just classified it as a high-end sensor because it is our latest innovation and it is the most sophisticated thermometer and sensor that we can offer. A part of the thermometers that you can use for your manufacturing process, in some cases you also need accessories. And I want to mention at least one very important accessory that is needed whenever you mount a thermometer to your pipeline or to a tank in your manufacturing facility. Last but not least, we also offer a certain range of what we call system products. These are like instruments like data managers or data recorders, or indicators in case you need an indicator in your production site. And we also offer instruments for power supply. So with these system products, we just complete the whole measuring loop, and you can have all the instruments you need from one hand from Endres Hauser. Let us take a look at one application in the brewery when manufacturing beer. And this is the fermentation process with the fermentation tank as part of this whole process, where you can install at least or up to 2 thermometers to monitor the temperature. And what is important or what is required, so to say, if you do such temperature measurements during the fermentation process, well, First of all, because the temperature range of the fermentation is between 2 and 25 degrees, so it's quite a small temperature range within which you measure. Having a short response time just makes sure that you detect any change very quickly and you can react whenever there is a problem with the temperature value. Of course, measuring temperature always means you want to measure at the best accuracy that is possible, of course. And because this is an application of the food and beverage industry, the thermometer will come in touch with your product, with your food product. So we need to offer the thermometer in hygienic design, of course. So for this application here, we would recommend a compact thermometer, and I mention here the TM311 because this is the newest version of a compact thermometer that we launched last year. What does this thermometer offer as technical features? First of all, there is the short response time that we guarantee due to the tip sensor that is included in this thermometer, and the tip sense is very similar to the quick sense that I mentioned before. Of course, we offer this instrument in hygienic quality, be it the tip itself here, or be it the connections, of course, they all come in hygienic quality. As this compact sensor is a ready-to-use instrument, there is included a transmitter, a temperature transmitter, and we always do the sensor transmitter matching before we ship such an instrument to our customers. And by doing this, we achieve the highest possible accuracy during the measurement of a temperature value. The TM311 also offers communication options, of course, either the traditional 4 to 20 milliampere analog communication option or a more modern IO-link communication. And of course, you can be sure that we offer other accessories, approvals and calibrations and all the services that are necessary to operate such a thermometer. So in the end, when using this TM311 during the fermentation process for measuring the temperature, you can take advantage of these added values. So due to the short response time, the process safety is at the highest level that is possible. The high measurement accuracy helps you to keep your process reliable at any time. And the hygienic design just helps to comply with all the hygienic regulations that are in place in your facility, of course. Moving on to another application like the juice mixing, I would like to point out the inline temperature measurement before the juice is pumped to the pasteurization process, to the pasteurization step. And for this application, I think it also makes sense to have a sensor with a very short response time, because you need to imagine the temperature in this pipeline here where the juice flows through is around 4 degrees. And you don't want to have big variations here, of course. Then it is interesting to have a sensor which you can handle without needing any special tools. And what I mean here by handling is that from time to time, whenever you use a thermometer, of course, you need to do a calibration. So you need to remove the sensor from the pipeline, from the tank, and do that calibration, and then you put back the sensor, the thermometer. And if you can do this without tools, it's of course more convenient. And also the calibration itself that you do, which I mentioned just now, it should be as easy as possible, of course. So here we need to look at our modular thermometers if we want to find a proper solution for this kind of application. And here we have, yeah, more or less two ranges of instruments. We have some instruments with a limited choice of sensors and accessories, but we also have instruments that offer the full choice of sensors that we have available, so be it strong sense or quick sense. You can use both in this instrument in the TM411, for example, that I'm going to mention later. And something that I want to point out very specifically is the quick sense that we offer in combination with a TM411. Now let's see what are the added values and the benefits when you use a TM411 in the juice mixing application that I showed you before in combination with a quick neck. First of all, the short response time, we know that from before, assures a perfect process safety, and you don't need to worry about this topic. When using the quick neck in combination with the TM411, the tool-free handling is guaranteed at any time, and this just saves time during the calibration process. On the other hand, doing a calibration when having the quick neck available is also very easy, and I will show you why and how. And this, with this easy calibration, of course, you would save costs. So I told you the quick neck. I have here a TM411 thermometer with a thermowell and a flange as process connection, and this part is the quick neck. And you see, if you want to remove the thermometer, you just turn to the left-hand side and you open the bayonet lock here. You have the thermometer in your hand. You can put it in the calibration bath to do the calibration, and whenever you finish the calibration, you just put it back. And of course, you need to imagine that this is in the pipeline, mounted in the pipeline. So you put back the sensor, you lock the bayonet lock, and that's it. I have another slide here just to show again the straightforward calibration process whenever you have a quick neck. So as indicated before, you remove the sensor from the thermowell, you put it in the calibration bath, you add a reference, a certified reference thermometer into the calibration bath, and you do the calibration. So this whole process, when having the quick neck available, is so fast that it leads to cost and time saving. And another very positive effect of the quick neck is you never need to open the terminal head here to access the transmitter or to disconnect wires here. So there you won't have the chance to do wrong connections when you put back the sensor or when you dismount the sensors, and there is no chance that water would enter here into the terminal head and would cause corrosion or stuff like that. So it's just safer to use a thermometer with a quick neck than missing that accessory. Another accessory which is very useful is our T and elbow pieces. Well, you need these pieces because you need to imagine you have a thermometer in your pipeline here. You can mount it in different ways, as you see indicated here. But the issue with the, well, standard connections like this one here is that you have dead legs, and during the cleaning process, this will cause problems because these dead legs are very difficult to clean. With our T and elbow pieces, or if you, let's say you take the T piece here, this T piece you could mount in the curved part of the pipeline. So your medium would flow this way, and the sensor, the thermometer, you put in here, of course, sorry. So with the T and elbow pieces that we offer, there is no dead legs that can cause any problems during cleaning, and this means the process safety is at the highest possible level. As said, cleaning is very simple. You save cleaning agent, you save time, and you increase the product safety in the end. And of course, these T and elbow pieces with a very special design come in hygienic quality so that you can be sure to fulfill all the standards that you have to fulfill, of course. Here, just another picture how it looks if a T-piece is mounted to a pipe, a bigger pipe here and a smaller one here. And you see, no dead legs, no welds here. So very easy to clean and very straightforward in its handling. So these were already some of the highlights that I indicated that I wanted to show to you. And now we have a question in Mentimeter, and it's your task now to tell us what is the correct answer of the three options you have here. So would you say this picture here shows a T-piece and this a quick neck and the other one a quick sense? Or do you say no, the second option is the correct answer, so 1 is quick neck, 2 is quick sense, and 3 is T-piece? Or would you go for the third option? Please enter your answer in the Mentimeter. Well, a very nice hit rate. 99% maybe voted for the right answer. So of course, picture 1 shows the quick neck. 2, oh, sorry, maybe I wait for all the people to enter their answer. But yes, it looks very good. So most of you are right. You got it. You know what a quick neck is, what a quick sense is, and what a T-piece is. Perfect. Thank you. So now we move on to talk about, no, not the world's first temperature sensor, but the world's first self-calibrating temperature sensor, which even got an award. It's the Hermes Award. It's an award that manufacturers get who produce very highly sophisticated instruments which have new technologies that they bring on the market. And for the Trust Sense, which is really the only and the first self-calibrating sensor on the market, we got this award in 2018. We talked about the topic of calibrations, and of course, we recommend to do what we call offline calibrations with the calibration bath and with a certified reference sensor. And we recommend to do that in certain intervals, of course. And the shorter you would keep the calibration intervals, the less you would run the risk to have a drifting sensor with that you do measurements, so to measure wrong results, of course. But on the other hand, if you do too many calibrations within short time, it costs time and money, of course. But imagine what if you would have the chance to do many calibrations whenever you want them or whenever it is necessary. Of course, this is possible with the new Trust Sense because it does that automatic calibration whenever you reach 118 degrees in your process, and you don't need to push a button and you don't need to worry about starting a calibration. So with this instrument, with our Trust Sense, you just minimize the risk of working with a sensor that does wrong measurements. Therefore, I picked another application. In this case, it is the fermented culture dosing in the dairy industry when you produce yogurt, for example. And I looked at the temperature measurement in the culture tank and asked myself, well, what would be nice to have as a technical feature for the thermometer that you use in this case? And it is, as you see indicated here, the automatic calibration, which is triggered automatically, of course. And whenever you do a calibration, the calibration protocols should be stored and also transferred to a data management system if you need that. And of course, we need the thermometer in hygienic quality. With our Trust Sense, the automatic calibration is given at any time. And this means you save cost in the sense that there's a low risk that you lose a batch of your product because you worked at a wrong temperature. Storing all the calibration data either in the instrument itself, because that is possible. You can store up to 350 calibrations in the Trust Sense, or storing it in a data management system will help improve the audit documentation that you may need. And the hygienic design, as we already mentioned on a slide before, helps you fulfill all the hygienic standards that you have to comply with. Well, maybe another Mentimeter question. The calibration, you see, is important, as I mentioned. We recommend to do it, and we have that Trust Sense that does the automatic calibration in between the so-called offline calibrations. Now, how or in what intervals and how often do you do calibrations? I see we already have answers. Okay, I see some do not do calibrations at all, but keep in mind, we recommend to do that. So maybe you want to improve your process, and so please do that. But some do calibrations once in 18 months or even longer, and most of you do at least one calibration a year. That's good. And I think that's the best way to handle this topic. Do it. Don't do it too often, but please do it. Thank you. Oh, sorry. Okay, so we come closer to the end of our journey, and I just want to have a brief look on one slide, more or less, what we work on at the moment. So what we intend to do is to have a new generation of our Trust Sense, of the self-calibrating thermometer, because we know there are needs in the food and beverage and also life science industry who tell us that we need another calibration point, a new one at a lower temperature value. So the next generation of our Trust Sense will come either with 118 degrees, the 118 degrees calibration option, or with a calibration option at around 60 degrees. The hard communication protocol is already available today, so we will offer that in future as well. And we will have the sensor with X approval for special applications. And also what we want to do is increase the working range of this sensor up to 190 degrees. At the moment, it is restricted to temperatures of up to 160 degrees. Then we have some requirements for some applications that you use the Trust Sense without a thermowell. So we need to offer the Trust Sense as a direct contact sensor. And there are more and more new requirements when it comes to IIoT features. So in this case, because we store the calibration data, we store this information in the instrument, we can use this information to give advices for predictive maintenance and stuff like that. So in fact, I would like to come to a conclusion and to mention the most important takeaways for you that I talked about in my presentation. You see, I show you here 4 pictures. So the first one is the well-known QuickSense, and keep in mind this is the sensor with the shortest response time on the market, so that you can always keep the process safety at a very high level because you can detect temperature changes within very short time. The T and elbow pieces with a special design, no dead legs, no welding, they just help to keep product and process safety at a high level so that you don't need to worry about cleaning and having problems with contaminations and stuff like that. The quick neck, which you can use either with our modular thermometers or also with a trust sense, allow you tool-free handling, which in the end saves cost and time, especially when it comes to the point of doing calibrations. And finally, of course, the trust sense, this unique and very innovative thermometer that does the self-calibration, and it is really a real calibration, and it's not just a verification of the temperature that it measures. So you don't just compare the value that the trust sense measure with another temperature, with another thermometer. So you really do a real calibration at 118 degrees. With this, again, you improve your process safety at reasonable cost. And all the conclusions that I made and the takeaways that I mentioned are listed here, and you will also find that in the handout, of course. Well, we're back from where we started, or now we have the chance to talk about your questions. I would ask my colleagues Melanie and also my colleague Kajetan Schneider from our product management what kind of questions came in. So Kajetan, if you would also come in front of the camera, thank you.
Hi Jürgen. Yeah.
Hi.
Hello, welcome everyone. My name is Kajetan. I'm the product manager from the background. And thanks Jürgen for the invitation. So we got a couple of questions. Melanie had to sort them out and to put them on the screen. So I think you start and we see how we can answer.
Okay. So I see the first question here is, does the sensor only calibrate at a temperature of 118 degrees? So a clear yes. The sensor, the thermometer that we offer today has only this option of calibration at 118 degrees. But as I mentioned, we work on the next generation, and there we will offer a calibration possibility at around 60 degrees.
This will be available when, approximately?
Yes, it will be available. The new generation of the trust sense will be available Q1 2022.
Perfect.
Any additional? Yes, we have more questions. When Trust Sense 2.0 will be available on the market? It is.
We have that there. Perfect.
Q2 2022. Yes. Any other? Yes. How fast does strong sense respond as compared to thin film RTD?
Yeah, that's a good question. How fast does it respond? The strong sense by itself responds, I would say, more or less similar than a standard thin film sensor or a standard wire wound sensor. I would like to turn around the question. What are you looking for? Are you looking for fast response or for robustness of the sensor? The strong sense, the purpose of it is to solve very robust applications, high vibrations, yeah, so it withstands up to 60 Gs. If you are looking for fast response, here we have the quick sense technology. If you have both, if that is the origin of your question, that you need a fast response time and high vibration resistance, then it's a different topic. But so far, from my experience, those applications are very rare. But basically, when we speak about our sensor technologies, we really have to look for which applications do we use it. Strong sense for high vibrations, quick sense for fast response, trust sense for self-calibrating.
Okay. Thank you. Another question, is there an accuracy improvement for trust sense as compared to typical A or B accuracy RTD? Or is it mainly for convenience of calibration sessions?
Also, very, very good question. I like that one. First of all, the trust sense uses a PT100 as well, PT100 class A in the sensoric. When we speak about accuracies, I would like to speak or to look at the complete system. Yeah, because if you only reduce your view on the sensoric, is it a class A, is it a class AA, how accurate is the sensor? This is just one piece of the puzzle. You always have to look at the complete measurement point. So where do you connect the PT100? Yeah, normally you go either into with a standard temperature transmitters. You go into the transmitter, into a 4 to 20 milliampere transmitter or a hard transmitter or whatever. So you have a signal change here from the analog to digital signal in the transmitter, and this you have to take into consideration as well. The same thing happens in the trust sense. We have the PT100 and we have an electronic, so also the analog digital conversion, and you have to look at the complete thing. So again, to the question, the PT100 is the same. The accuracy will not improve of the sensor. What we look at in the complete system is the overall accuracy. With a trust sense, we do gain a better accuracy because we are matching that PT100 sensor to the electronic. As you know, the class A defines the standard accuracies, but each PT100 class A varies in that range. Yeah? So that individual PT100 curve is matched to that electronic. So each trust sense has a higher accuracy. You can also reach that with our standard modular devices with an electronic, with a TMT 72, for example, with our 4 to 20 milliampere transmitter. If you do the sensor transmitter matching, it's the same thing. And now to the second part of that question, trust sense self-calibrating, is it just to, what was the wording? The
mainly, sorry,
the end of the question. What was it? Ah, there it is. Just of the convenience of less calibration sessions. Okay. Yes and no, it's not less calibration sessions. You have more calibration sessions with the trust sense. With each cycle, you go through the 180 degrees, you have a calibration, and you have the assurance that your sensor, here we are speaking about the PT100 sensor itself, that this is still within the range of a class A. So your overall accuracy is still within your defined range.
Yeah, as I mentioned, we still recommend the traditional offline calibrations using a calibration bath and an external certified reference thermometer. But as Kajetan said, you don't want to do less calibrations, but you want to even do more calibrations, but without any pushing of a button or whatever. Yeah. The trust sense does the calibrations whenever the 118 or later the 60 degrees will be reached.
Yeah, fully automated.
Fully automated.
And if it's out of spec, if it's out of range, you get an alert. So that is making your life easier. That was the idea behind it.
Okay, thanks. The next one, question on strong sense was to determine if there is a speed disadvantage only. I'm not really sure. I think we talked about, maybe this is referring to the response time, as you said.
I think this refers to the first question we had. This was just to add on the first question.
On the first question, you don't have a speed disadvantage with a strong sense. As I tried to say, the response time of the strong sense, the T90 time, is in the range of a standard PT100 thin film. Yeah. So you can have a look at our technical informations, technical documentations of our products. There you find the complete tables for the different configurations with thermowheel, without thermowheel, response time of the different sensors. So there you see it quite nicely, and we are going down to seconds. But basically, if I take a typical 6 millimeter device with a thermowheel, then we are T90 time with a standard PT100, I would say at around maybe 20 seconds. Yeah. And the strong sense is in the same range, maybe 20, 21 seconds or something like that. But basically, there is no disadvantage if when you're using a strong sense when it comes to the response time.
Okay.
Compared to a standard thin film, I have to say that. Compared to a quick sense, definitely.
Okay. No more questions. So this was an easy question, the last one.
Add on to
no
the
more
first one.
questions. Okay.
Great.
Thanks a lot. So I hand over back to Matthias.
Yeah, thank you all for your great presentation, and I think you gave us a lot of good insights and a lot of good information to be used in the application in food and beverage. Thanks for that.
Yeah.
Yeah, how to continue? We already had our sessions for analytical instruments, for flow instruments, and now for temperature today. Next will be the level and pressure seminar, which is on next Tuesday, same time, 1 in the morning and 1 in the afternoon. How to register? Either you go to www.endres.com and you can just find the seminar sessions on there, or you are going to open the recordings here. We have the link for the next seminar, and we have as well the link to all the online seminars from Endres Hauser. So if you are interested in anything else, maybe also in other instruments or something like that, you will find it there, and you can register directly from there to the seminars. In there, you as well will find a link for the recordings. That means for the seminar we already did, because we record all the sessions, and that means if you like to see a seminar a second time, or you like to give it to anybody else, just go there as well, either to the endres.com page, or I put the link as well here on the handout. That's it from my side as well. I'm really happy to have you all here, and I hope to see you again next Tuesday for level and pressure, for the next seminar when we talk about how the instrumentation of Endres Hauser can help to improve safety and quality of the food applications. Thank you very much from my side, and I wish you either a nice day, a nice afternoon, or a good night, depending where are you coming from. Hope to see you next time. Bye-bye. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.